I think it's time to address what occurred over the course of the weekend in the MMA community, in particular, UFC 300. The championship fight between Poatan and Jamahal Hill. If you look closely, there's a clip floating around of Poatan stopping Herb Dean from coming in and interrupting after a cup or groin kick. He was locked in to his opponent, Jamahal Hill, as Jamahal Hill was locked into Poatan. When Herb Dean stepped forward after Poatan signaled for the groin or the cup hit, after he stopped Herb Dean, and Herb Dean said, continue, Poatan's left hand started to tap Jamahal Hill's right hand, just pawing at it, just tapping it. So as he was bouncing, he then generates energy kinetically as he's going up and down to explode. He's actually recoiling so that he can expand. He's contracting and expanding as he's bouncing. So as he's tapping, he's actually measuring your timing. And as he comes down, if he understands that he's cleared your hand with his left hand, which is also his hook hand, and since it is slightly outstretched, he's actually covering more distance than from a traditional chambered position. He's able to paw at, touch, get on top pressure, that is clear your obstruction to your chin, and simultaneously charge the energy that he's going to use to throw his hook, which then lands on Jamahal Hill's chin, causing Jamahal Hill to fall. I think it's very important because when that happened, although I'm a fan of both of these gentlemen, when that happened, I was slightly disappointed. Only because, and no fault to Herb Dean, but I have to take you back to a fight between Anthony Rumble Johnson and Gustafsson. There was a point in the fight where there was a break in the rhythm, which then changed the distance of the fight. It literally changed the distance in which the two fighters were fighting. And this distance is very important because range is a key element in how you defend as well as how you attack your opponent. So this range needed to be reestablished between Gustafsson and Anthony Rumble Johnson. And in my opinion, one of the fighters might say different, I think the reset of that distance, thereby the range, affected the course of the fight ever so slightly. And when you're dealing with fighting at such a high level, it's a game of inches. Gustafsson was pressuring, and I felt edging Anthony Rumble Johnson in that fight. However, Anthony Rumble Johnson did end up winning that fight by stoppage. By such a slight interruption and change in the rhythm, distance, range of that fight. Now, to current time in the fight between Poatan and Jamahal Hill. With Jamahal Hill moving back towards the fence, I don't think Jamahal had any concern regarding Poatan chasing him and taking him down like a grappler or wrestler would. With the nature of him moving back, I would suggest that Jamahal, and I could be wrong, was attempting to control said distance and stay away from the dangers that Poatan presents, in particular his left hook, right cross, and or his leg kick. We now find that Poatan's toe was broken, so he may not have thrown as many leg kicks as he would normally throw in a fight. We never got to find out because the fight was stopped quite early. However, going back to the fight, that lapse, that break in focus from that hair-thin exchange of distance and range, timing and rhythm, from when Poatan stops Herb Dean to Jamahal Hill looking at Herb Dean's direction to see whether he was going to stop the fight and give him 5 minutes for the groin hit, to the moment where Herb Dean says continue and Poatan continues to paw at the hand of Jamahal Hill. I say it's fair because Jamahal Hill was allowing the engagement of the pawing of the hand at that point. Thereby, it's almost as if Jamahal Hill was prepared to fight again mentally. But that step forward or that step back, that slight change of distance, i.e. range, and then the adjustment by Poatan because he was still locked in on his prey. He never even looked at Herb Dean. He stood looking forward, continued to tap, and within 2 or 3 taps, you'll notice as he's doing his bouncing movement, it's ever so slight. You got to look very close for it. He's charging, and explodes with the hook. And since that ever so slight break in rhythm, I think that had a significant effect on the reaction time, reflexes of Jamahal Hill. Why? Because he did look away and then he continued to look back at his opponent to reestablish the distance and the range from his opponent, who, by the way, is still very effective at touching you with his left hand, even when you are 100% aware. One lapse, a split second, can mean a great deal for someone who's a specialist at that particular technique. And I'm not trying to shoot Jamahal Hill bail, but I have to say, I was disappointed at that outcome due to the fact that that slight stoppage, that slight break in rhythm, that slight shift in range changed the outcome of the main event in such a way that although it ended exciting, it makes me question what would have occurred had that slight change in distance, range, and timing not happened.